The cold darkness of space stretched endlessly. Among the countless stars, the massive fleet of the Galactic Empire moved with quiet power. Ships of all sizes sailed like a deadly shadow toward a small, blue-green planet, Earth. The Empire's commanders stood on their bridge, eyes fixed on their screens. They had heard stories about Earth, but nothing was certain. The scanners started to show something new, strange energy readings coming from Earth's orbit. The Empire's fleet slowed. Their captain frowned. "What is this?" he asked. The crew checked again. The readings were unlike anything they had seen before. It was as if Earth's warships were not just ships. They had power. Great power. In the command room, tension filled the air. The Empire had ruled many systems for centuries, but Earth was unknown. Some called humans weak, simple, unimportant. But these readings told a different story. The Empire decided to get closer. Meanwhile, on Earth, people watched the stars calmly. Unlike the Empire's nervous commanders, humans were relaxed. They had waited for this moment for a long time. Earth's warships were hidden from the universe for decades. Now, they were ready to show their strength. On the bridge of the largest human warship, Captain Sarah stood tall. Her eyes shone with quiet confidence. She looked at her crew and smiled. "They are coming," she said softly, "and they still don't understand who we really are." Sarah thought about the past years, how Earth had secretly built its defenses, advanced its technology, and trained its pilots. No other species expected humans to have such power. The Empire's spies never guessed what Earth was capable of. Back on the Empire's flagship, the captain ordered his officers to prepare for battle. They had no idea what Earth's fleet looked like. All they knew were old stories and weak signals. But now the signals were clear and strong. The Empire was about to meet a force unlike any other. As the Empire's fleet moved closer, Earth's warships appeared slowly in the distance. They looked smaller than the Empire's giant ships, but their design was sharp and modern. Each ship had a glowing shield and weapons that hummed with energy. The Empire's commanders watched in silence, surprised by what they saw. The Empire's captain was angry. "They are just human ships," he said. "How can they have this power? This is impossible." The crew tried to explain the energy readings again, but the captain shook his head. "Humans are weak. This must be a trick." On Earth's ships, the humans smiled. They did not fear the Empire's huge fleet. They knew something the Empire did not. Earth's warships were fast, smart, and deadly. Their weapons could destroy the Empire's biggest ships, but they had not shown all their power yet. Captain Sarah sent a message to the Empire's fleet. "We are ready to talk. We come in peace. But do not mistake our patience for weakness." The message was clear and calm. It surprised the Empire. No other species had spoken to them like this before. The Empire's captain was confused. He expected fear or anger, but humans were different. They smiled and waited. This made the Empire uneasy. Suddenly, Earth's ships moved closer, forming a strong line of defense. The Empire's fleet hesitated. No one wanted to be the first to fire. The silence was thick. The universe seemed to hold its breath. In that moment, Captain Sarah thought about her people, about all the humans who had worked hard to prepare for this day. She knew the Empire believed humans were weak, but the truth was the opposite. Humans had survived many wars on Earth. They had learned to fight smart, to use their minds, and to never give up. The Empire's ships stared at Earth's warships. The warships looked calm, but ready. And then, without any warning, the humans smiled. Not the smile of fear, but the smile of confidence. It was a smile that said, "We are ready." The Empire's captain felt a chill. He realized this was no ordinary enemy. Earth's humans were different. They were not just survivors. They were fighters, leaders, and perhaps the future rulers of the galaxy. The story was only beginning. The Empire had finally seen Earth's warships, and humans just smiled. The stars shone quietly as the Empire's Fleet drifted closer to Earth's warships. The commanders aboard the Empire's ships stared at their screens, trying to understand what they saw. These Earth ships were different. They were smaller than the Empire's giants but looked strong and ready. The scanners showed strange energy fields around them, something the Empire had never seen before. Captain Sarah stood calmly on the bridge of her ship. Her eyes were steady and full of quiet strength. She looked at the glowing warships around her and thought about what was coming. The Empire expected humans to be weak and simple, but humans were more than that. They were clever, determined, and patient. "Commander, the Empire fleet is still holding back," Sarah said softly. "They are waiting for us to make the first move." Her second-in-command nodded. "They don't know what to expect. They thought Earth was an easy target." Sarah smiled. "They will learn soon enough. But we will show them that strength is not only in size or weapons, it is also in courage and mind." Far away, the Empire's commanders gathered in a room filled with tension. The captain looked tired but focused. "Why are they not attacking? Why do they just stand there?" One officer spoke carefully. "Their calmness is a sign of confidence, sir. It is almost like they are inviting us to listen." The captain frowned. "Listen? To humans? What could they want?" Back on Earth's ship, Sarah sent a message to the Empire. "We do not want war. We want peace, but we will not back down. If you wish to talk, we are ready." The message shocked the Empire commanders. No one had expected humans to speak like this. Usually the Empire met new species with threats and demands, but here was Earth, calm and clear. The captain called his advisors. "We need to decide quickly. We can't wait forever." One advisor said, "Sir, maybe we should accept their offer. We could learn something new." Another disagreed. "Or they could be hiding something. We must be careful." The debate went on, but Sarah waited quietly. She knew that showing patience was the greatest strength of all. Time was on her side. Suddenly, a small fleet of Earth scout ships moved forward. They were not weapons. They were signals of peace. The Empire's sensors picked up strange, beautiful patterns of light. It was a message of hope and curiosity. The Empire's captain looked at the display. "What is this?" "It is a peaceful gesture, sir," one officer said. Sarah watched from her bridge as the Empire's ships slowly lowered their shields. A small signal came back, an invitation to talk. The first meeting between the Empire and Earth's representatives was tense but calm. Neither side knew exactly what to expect, but both were curious. The humans smiled again. They had waited for this moment for many years. "We come from a planet called Earth," Sarah said simply. "We want friendship and understanding. We have strength, but we use it carefully. We want to share, not to fight." The Empire listened. Slowly, they began to understand Earth was not weak, Earth was different. And maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something new. A chance for the galaxy to see humans not as enemies, but as allies. The vast silence of space seemed to hold its breath as the Empire's fleet slowly responded to Earth's peaceful signals. No longer did they glare with suspicion. Instead, a cautious curiosity took root among the commanders. For centuries, the Empire had ruled with certainty, believing they knew the power and limits of every species in the galaxy. But Earth was proving to be a mystery, a challenge to all their assumptions. Captain Sarah stood firm on the bridge of the flagship. Her gaze was steady, reflecting both determination and hope. She knew this moment was critical. The Empire's leaders were watching every move, weighing their options. A single misstep could close the door forever or open a new path to understanding. The first official meeting was arranged in a neutral zone, a quiet space station floating between the Empire and Earth. Representatives from both sides gathered, dressed in uniforms that told stories of their worlds. The humans were calm, their smiles gentle but confident. The Empire's delegates were guarded, their faces marked by years of power and command. As the talks began, the air was thick with questions and unspoken fears. The Empire asked about Earth's technology, its people, and its plans. Sarah answered, honestly, explaining the long history of human resilience and innovation. She spoke of Earth's struggles and triumphs, how humans had learned to adapt and grow stronger through unity and curiosity. The Empire's leaders listened, their expressions shifting from skepticism to a thoughtful respect. For the first time, they saw humans not as a threat to be crushed, but as a species with potential and strength in unexpected ways. Outside the meeting room, the warships from both sides remained poised, but the tension had softened. The two fleets exchanged slow movements, almost like a dance, careful, deliberate, and full of meaning. The humans showed their ships' capabilities in demonstrations of speed and precision, but always with restraint. The Empire responded with their own displays, and slowly, a new understanding began to form. Back on Earth, Sarah reflected on the momentous changes unfolding. The humans had waited for years for this chance, a chance to be seen and respected. It was not about domination, but about coexistence and growth. Suddenly, the communication screens lit up with a new message. It was from a distant star system, a warning about a threat beyond the Empire's reach. A shadow was moving in the galaxy, something unknown and powerful. Both the Empire and Earth would have to face it together. The room fell silent. The meeting had started as a cautious peace talk, but now it held the promise of a new alliance forged not in conflict, but in shared hope and common purpose. Sarah's smile grew wider. She knew the real test was just beginning. The galaxy was watching, and humans were ready to show their true strength, not through force but through unity and courage. As the fleets prepared for what lay ahead, the Empire finally understood that Earth's warships were more than machines. They were symbols of a people who smiled in the face of the unknown, ready to stand tall and face the future together. The story was far from over. It was only just beginning. The vastness of space stretched endlessly as the news of the new threat spread quickly across both fleets. The peaceful talks between Earth and the Empire had opened a door, but now a shadow loomed that neither side could ignore. Captain Sarah stood at the front of her command room, her eyes reflecting the distant stars, but her mind was focused sharply on the future. The warning had come from a distant system, a call for help from a race unknown to both Earth and the Empire. The message spoke of a force moving silently, capable of disrupting the balance of power in the galaxy. Neither humans nor the Empire had ever faced anything like it before. It was a test unlike any other. A test that would require trust and cooperation between former strangers. Sarah gathered her officers. "This changes everything," she said quietly. "We can no longer stand alone. We have to work with the Empire, not just for ourselves but for the whole galaxy." Her officers nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The humans had always been ready for challenges, but this was different. This was no longer about pride or power. It was about survival and hope. On the Empire's flagship, the mood was just as serious. The captain and his advisors studied the data carefully. The unknown force was described as something that could disable entire fleets without a single shot. It was silent, invisible, and unstoppable by known weapons. The Empire's leader finally spoke. "We cannot face this threat alone. Earth's fleet may be our best hope." A message was sent back to Earth. "Let us work together. We need to share knowledge and strength if we want to survive." The first joint meeting was held in the neutral space station again. Humans and Empire representatives shared their technologies, strategies, and hopes. Sarah saw the walls of suspicion slowly crumble as the two sides began to understand one another better. They talked about the past, the mistakes made, and the possibility of a new future. Together, they planned the first joint mission to gather information about the unknown force. The mission would require brave crews from both sides to travel into uncharted space, seeking answers in the dark. As the fleets prepared, Sarah stood on the observation deck of her ship, looking out at the stars. She thought about the journey. Ahead, the unknown dangers, the fragile alliance, and the hope that together they could protect their homes. The day of the mission arrived. Ships from Earth and the Empire sailed side by side, their lights cutting through the dark emptiness. The crews shared stories and hopes, their differences becoming strengths instead of weaknesses. The unknown force awaited them, silent and unseen. But for the first time, humans and the Empire were united. They were not just two fleets, they were one, and they carried with them the strength of hope, courage, and a future worth fighting for. The story had taken a new turn, one filled with possibility and promise. It was a story of trust born in the stars, where enemies could become allies, and the greatest challenges could bring out the best in everyone. As they moved deeper into space, the mystery grew. But so did the determination. The humans smiled once more, not because they feared nothing, but because they believed in something greater, the power of unity. The deep silence of space was filled with anticipation as the combined fleet ventured further into the unknown. Captain Sarah stood at the front of her ship's command room, her mind sharp and alert. The unknown force had yet to reveal itself, but its presence was felt everywhere. In the quiet signals, the unexplained malfunctions, and the eerie calm. The crews from both Earth and the Empire had come together, sharing their knowledge and skills. Slowly, friendships were forming where once there had been suspicion and fear. Engineers from different worlds worked side by side, pilots exchanged stories and strategies, and leaders found common ground in their shared purpose. Sarah looked at her team, proud of how far they had come. "We may come from different places," she said, "but today, we fight together for something bigger than ourselves." Despite the unity, tension remained. The unknown force was clever, always staying one step ahead. It disrupted communications, causing brief blackouts, and its energy, signatures remained hidden. The fleet knew it was close, watching, waiting. One night, while Sarah reviewed data from the sensors, a sudden signal caught her attention. It was faint, almost lost in the noise, but there, a pattern emerged. It was not just random interference. It was a message, a call for help disguised in the silence. She called her officers together. "This could be a sign," she said. "Something or someone wants us to find them. We must be ready for anything." The fleet adjusted its course toward the source. As they approached, strange formations of glowing light appeared in space, weaving and pulsing like living beings. The Empire's scientists were amazed. These lights were a form of life, not like anything they had seen before. The humans and Empire crew studied the phenomenon carefully. The lights seemed to react to their presence, changing colors and shapes. It was as if they were trying to communicate, to tell a story. Sarah felt a deep connection to these lights. "Maybe," she said softly, "this is the answer to the mystery. Maybe this life form holds the key to understanding the threat and finding peace." The crews worked tirelessly, sending signals back and forth, trying to unlock the language of the lights. Slowly, the mystery began to unfold. The lights were the guardians of an ancient part of the galaxy, watching over a hidden secret. As they learned more, the fleet realized the true danger was not just the unknown force itself, but the fear and misunderstanding it created. The key to survival was not just technology or strength, but trust and openness to what was different. Sarah stood on the deck again, looking out at the glowing lights floating in space. She thought about how far humans had come, from being seen as weak and unknown to becoming leaders in this new alliance. The Empire's captain joined her silently. For the first time, there was no need for words. Both understood the truth. They were part of something bigger now. Together, they faced the future with hope. The story had reached a new height, one filled with wonder, discovery, and the power of connection. The humans smiled once more, not because they had won a battle, but because they had found a new way forward. And the galaxy watched, ready for the next chapter in this incredible journey. The vast darkness of space felt alive with possibility as the combined fleet moved carefully through the glowing fields of the mysterious life forms. Captain Sarah stood tall on the bridge, feeling the weight of responsibility settle upon her shoulders. This mission was more than a test of strength. It was a chance to change the future of the galaxy forever. The glowing beings floated silently, their lights shifting in patterns that seemed almost like a language. The scientists on both Earth and the Empire worked side by side, decoding these patterns with patience and wonder. Each discovery brought new hope and new questions. One night, as the fleet rested under the starry sky, a message came through the decoded signals. It was a story, ancient and wise, told in colors and pulses. The life form spoke of balance, of how the galaxy once thrived when different worlds lived in harmony. But fear and misunderstanding had shattered that balance, letting darkness grow. Sarah listened carefully to the message. She knew that the old ways of fear and division could no longer protect anyone. The key to survival was cooperation, respect, and a shared vision for peace. The Empire's captain, standing beside her, nodded. Silently. The long journey from rivalry to alliance had been difficult, but here, in the quiet space between stars, they had found something greater: trust. Together, they sent a reply in the language of the lights. It was a promise to protect the balance and to work together for the good of all. The glowing beings responded with a dance of light, bright and beautiful, as if welcoming the new partnership. As the fleet prepared to leave the lifeform's domain, an unexpected shift occurred. The unknown force that had haunted the galaxy began to fade, its presence diminishing as the light of unity grew stronger. The threat was not gone, but it was weakened by the power of connection. Sarah stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars that seemed brighter than ever. She smiled, knowing that the journey was far from over. But the future held promise. The humans and the Empire had started as strangers, then enemies, then uneasy allies. Now, they were partners in a story that would change the galaxy's course. Their smiles were no longer just signs of confidence but symbols of hope. The galaxy watched in silence, waiting for the next step, a step toward peace, understanding, and a future built together. The story had come full circle, but the adventure was just beginning. And as the stars shone down, the humans smiled once more, ready for whatever lay ahead.